If you've been following the news in Massachusetts lately, you've probably heard about a massive number $1 billion. That's right, Massachusetts is projected to spend over $1 billion on emergency shelter for migrant families this fiscal year. And I want to break down exactly what's going on, what's at stake, and where this story might be headed. Let's start with the basics. The state's fiscal year ends June 30th, and Governor Maura Healey's administration has already spent over $800 million just since last July. Most of that's gone to sheltering more than 4,000 families, with about 1,600 officially classified as migrant families. But here's the kicker. The real number could be higher, because for eligibility purposes a lot of new arrivals are counted as Massachusetts residents. So, what is all this money actually being spent on? Well, the emergency assistance system covers shelter, obviously, but also food, education, legal aid, case management, even National Guard security. If you break it down, it comes to about $3,500 per family per week, or $1,000 per person, every single week. Of the funds so far, about $680 million went to direct shelter costs. Another $150 million went to what the state calls wraparound services. That includes things like education, work programs, and even rental assistance. Now, just to get a sense of scale, Massachusetts was hit hard by a recent surge of migrants. Some people had to sleep at Logan Airport before the state set up temporary shelters, many of them in hotels. At the peak, there were over 100 hotels being used. Today that's dropped to 28 hotels with just under 600 rooms. The governor says all hotel shelters will close by the end of this year, but whether that actually happens is anyone's guess. So, is all this working? The number of people in the emergency system has fallen below 5,000. The state says about 1,600 people in the system have found jobs, and over 2,000 migrants have received work permits. That's progress, but it's still a massive financial commitment. Not everyone is happy with how this has played out. Republican candidates have slammed Governor Healey, claiming her policies have turned Massachusetts into a migrant magnet. They argue the spending is unsustainable, and that the state needs a different approach. Meanwhile, some federal officials are saying the border crisis is easing up. One former border czar recently claimed Border Patrol only encountered 95 illegal immigrants in one day, and that none were released into the country last month. But even if that's true, Massachusetts is still grappling with the fallout from last year's influx. So where does Massachusetts go from here? The billion-dollar question, literally, is whether the state can keep up this level of spending, or if something's got to give. Will closing hotel shelters really solve the problem, or just move it somewhere else? And how will local communities handle the strain both financially and socially? It's a complicated story with no easy answers. But one thing's for sure, the fallout from this crisis is putting huge pressure on the state budget, and forcing some tough conversations about who we are, what we value, and how far we'll go to help those in need. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should Massachusetts keep spending big to help migrant families, or do we need a new plan? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.